The Adelson inmates all making a stop at the Leon County Jail in Florida. I want to show you this newly released video this morning of convicted killer Charlie Adelson being transported to the Leon County Jail in Florida last month. You can see in the video Charlie in the back of the van, even smiling a little bit. At one point it seemed like he might have been talking to himself, who knows? And at some point along their drive, the van driver takes him to get some Wendy's.
Ah, man. Thank you so much, man.
Charlie,
yes, sir.
We are across the street from the jail. I'll go as slow as I can, but you eat what you. I ain't gonna. You eat it all. I'm not gonna take you off the van until you're done. You good?
Any chance I could just take one cup off? Get a lot faster. I'll take the dine and eat. So just stand up.
Sit down. Sit down. What channel is it?
Yeah, I can take my shirt off too.
We'll get that when we get there.
It's just hot. All right, that's fine. Thank you so much, man. You're the best.
Oh, look at Charlie. He seems very happy with that Wendy's. Now, we know his mama, Donna, is at the Leon County Jail. And now we're learning that Charlie's ex-girlfriend, Catherine McBanawa, also convicted co-conspirator for both of them. She was there last week as well. And that's interesting. Why was she there? We know she was done testifying. Donna's convicted. Why was she there? Could it be because there's a grand jury presentment going on, maybe against Wendy, maybe against Harvey? Just an educated guess. Let's bring in our legals and see if they agree. I want to welcome in the former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave Ehrenberg, along with criminal defense attorneys Franz Borghardt and Kesia Early. Kesia also practicing in the state of Florida where these cases have been taking place. All right, Dave, what do you think? Why was Katie McBanawa at the jail?
Well, Julie, you would think maybe it's because she's testifying before the local grand jury against Wendy and maybe Harvey, but I'm not so sure about that because you don't need them to testify. Usually you just get a law enforcement officer and that person can just use hearsay, which is allowed in a grand jury, and just tell the tale and get the indictment that way. So I'm not totally sure. I hear it's because they wanted to make sure she's not in the same facility as Donna, so they're moving them around. But I don't have an easy answer to this one. I don't think it's because she is going to testify before the grand jury, because why? They don't need her, and it's not usual for that to happen. By the way, on that video for Charlie, Charlie's getting everything he deserves. But I got to admit, maybe it's my sense of humanity, I actually felt sad in watching that. He looked like a caged animal. Again, he did it to himself. But this guy had a Ferrari, had the finest restaurants, lived the high life. And now he looks like he's just an animal eating and enjoying Wendy's. Like, this is his life forever, which makes me believe that the only way he can get out of this, which is perhaps possible, is to testify against Wendy in her trial.
Ooh, good point, Dave. All good points, really. Another look at Charlie scarfing down those French fries. I agree with you, Dave. It is really, really sad. I mean, this guy once a thriving dentist, a very successful dentist in Miami, and not anymore unless he's doing prison dental work. Franz Borghardt, want to go to you next, please. Your thoughts on why Katie McBanawa was there, and certainly welcome your thoughts on Charlie's transport video, too.
So I agree 100%. If you're going to the grand jury, you don't really need, you can indict a ham sandwich on just one officer. You don't need to present anything. I think this was probably more negotiations. I think it's a prelude to cooperation agreements against, I'm so excited, Wendy. And I do think that they're going to indict Wendy. If they don't indict Wendy, I don't know what, Julie, because I mean, watching all of these trials, I'm just like, what are you waiting on? So the Wendy's sandwich, okay, good for him. He gets a Wendy's sandwich. I mean, that's something we take for granted. It's probably one of the best meals he's gotten in quite some time. I agree. He does look kind of like a fallen, from grace kind of individual. But I think this is cooperation meetings. And look, they all have everything to gain from cooperating. They all have everything to gain by cooperating against Wendy, and, you know, hopefully that indictment's coming soon.
Yes, Franz, a perfect segue to the clip I'm going to play. And Casey, early, I want to come to you on the other side of this. This is Georgia Kappelman, the prosecutor who's handled all of these cases, lead counsel for the state on this one. After the verdict, let's hear what she said about Wendy.
Georgia, does Wendy have reason to be worried tonight?
You said that word. That's a bad word.
A bad word.
No W questions.
Worried is a bad word.
Well, last time
Should we say stay tuned? Do we need to stay tuned?
I mean, you can stay tuned.
Okay, Casey, I want your thoughts on what she just said there. Katie McBanama, and of course, good old Charlie.
You know, Wendy, it's just how can I put this? The wheels of justice turn slowly, but they're still turning. I'm just thinking about everything that's going on with this case. They're not done with Wendy. And I don't know if it's a sign that he was eating Wendy's. I don't know, but it was just kind of cringy, just like my colleague stated. My head is all over the place when I first started, because I'm like, it's too obvious, because she had the most to gain from all of this. So I do believe that there's something coming down the pipes. Not so much with Harvey. I believe that he had some form of knowledge, but I think that with his position, he was kind of kept out of the dark until after the fact, and he kind of just went with the flow. I don't know if there's a lot of evidence, but Wendy, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you why. There was a question that Georgia asked her while she was on the stand. And at first she said, if anyone is involved, should they be held accountable? She said, yes. And then she said, if you're involved, should you be held accountable? She said, anyone involved. If that was me, I would have said, I'm not involved. It was the way that she answered the question. Wendy, it's unfortunate, but you were involved, and there will be charges coming soon.
Yes, Casey, I'm loving what you're saying. And thank you for bringing up the Wendy's, because I think that's what we were all thinking. I know in our news when we were talking about this morning, we're going, yeah, it's probably totally coincidental, but, you know, there's Arby's, there's Taco Bell, there's McDonald's. Why wasn't it any one of these places? It was Wendy's. Wendy's with a Y, though. The good Wendy. Dave Ehrenberg, let me get back to you on that point. The Wendy that has the cloud of suspicion over her head, how likely would you say it is that she's going to be charged?
I now have it at 96%. So I'm increasing it by the day. Now, by the way, the Wendy's restaurant is across from the courthouse. That's why they went there. I don't think there was any symbolism in it. But it is sick convenient. Irony. Mm-hmm. Yes, convenient and ironic. The thing is that you could see the way that this office, Georgia Kappelman and Jack Campbell, have done it one by one, and they give a tip-off to the next person in the previous trial. So when they put Katie McBanama on trial, they talked a lot about Charlie. Then they got Charlie. When they put Charlie on trial, they talked a lot about Donna. They put Donna on trial. And now in this trial for Donna, they talked a lot about Wendy. So her day of reckoning is coming. And she knows it. I'm hearing out there on the internet that she's already talked to her boyfriend in Texas about adopting the children. Charlie spoke about that actually in a recorded call with a media person behind bars. And if that was legitimate, what I heard on the internet, then she's expecting it. I mean, Wendy is no dummy. She was knowledgeable about this. She knew about this in my mind. And as we found out in the Donna trial, she took active steps to assist. How did Donna get the make and model and license plate of her ex-son-in-law's car 2 years after the divorce? Who do you think gave that information to her? That's just one important piece of evidence against Wendy.
So true, Dave, so true. And those poor Markells, those lovely people that I know you know, Dave, Phil and Ruth, you know, what about them seeing the kids? I mean, I just wonder, have they even seen them? Dave, if you know, if you have any idea, I know that's been a terrible struggle for them because of Wendy with an I.
They have seen them. In fact, Florida passed a law because of this case to give grandparents rights, although it doesn't directly apply to this case until Wendy is indicted and convicted. So it's crazy stuff. But the Markells have seen the grandkids. The problem is that the poor grandkids have had their minds poisoned against the grandparents for some time. So it's taking a while to warm up again.